This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, May 31st, 2006, and this is episode number 107 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hochberg from ngmstudios.org. On the panel today is Len Testa, co-author of The Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome, Len.
Hey, Matt. How's it going?
Super.
Super. Yeah, fair to middling.
And we also have Mike Scopa of MouseBonny.com. Welcome, Mike.
Welcome aboard. This is Captain Rex from the cockpit. I know this is probably your first flight, and it's mine, too.
How funny.
That's in respect to Star Wars weekend. Star Wars
weekend. There you go. Well, it's Wednesday, and that means we're answering your listener questions. So if you've got a listener question, email us at questions@wdwtoday.com, and we'll try to answer it in an untimely manner. Our first email is from Marilee in Minnesota. That rhymes. And her email is, this is not really a question, but rather a comment. On one of your podcasts, episode number 68, you mentioned that you thought the pictures printed through the Disney's PhotoPass was rather expensive. They are, but you do have an option. Have your pictures up to 200 downloaded to a CD for $99 at one of the parks. The CD cannot be ordered online and must be done at the camera centers before you leave. The CD comes with a release form so that you can have the pictures printed at your local store. And she goes on to rave and rant about the CD. I still think $99, even for 200 pictures, I mean, for $99 on an online store to print your own pictures, I mean, that's going to buy you...
Yeah, I mean, doesn't Snapfish cost like 26 cents per photo?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to... It's still expensive.
It's the taking your photos thing, though, right? Because they're giving you the CD, in which case you have to actually go back out and...
Yeah, that's right. You're not
getting the photos, right?
Yeah, you're just getting the copy on a CD.
So they're actually taking your picture for 50 cents a pop.
If you max out at 200, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
the cheapest rate is 50 cents a pop, then, right?
Yeah. The best thing I've heard about PhotoPass is one of our listeners emailed us in and said that they give the link to their relatives at home to watch the pictures as they take them in the parks. But that's probably the best and only reason I would ever.
$100? Jeez. Wow.
Yeah.
It just sounds like it's a lot. I mean, how much? I mean, it's not much more than the cost of a digital camera, right? How much less?
That's about right. All right. Well, our next question is from Krista of Paducah, Kentucky, who writes, when my husband visited Walt Disney World as a child, he remembers pool hopping to other Walt Disney World Resort hotel pools. He was a guest at one of the deluxe resort. Is pool hopping still allowed to some of the other pools, or are we only allowed to use the pools on the property that we're staying at? And what about the other hotels' playgrounds?
You're only allowed to use the pool for the hotel that you're staying at.
Right.
Technically.
Well, I mean, rules are rules. I certainly understand why they would do that. That being said, I don't know that you're actually going to get kicked out if you're reasonably well behaved.
How are they going to tell you from that hotel?
That's the thing. I mean, I've pool hopped at the Polynesian before. They've got cabanas where you can get changed, and the towels are really just sitting out there. So if you're reasonably well behaved and you act like you belong there, I don't think you're going to get kicked out. It is against the rules, though. So.
Yeah.
We actually one time we were driving back to Walt Disney World or back home from Disney after we did a full day in the Magic Kingdom. So we all agreed to meet at the Poly, take a quick dip in the pool to get all the funk out before we got in the van for the 12-hour ride back home. So we did that. I actually have a complete collection of pool towels from the Polynesian as well. I'm just waiting for someone in my family to get married so I can give them away as gifts. Anyway,
they're from Mouse Surplus.
Yeah, Mouse Surplus. I got a receipt here somewhere. Yeah.
Polynesian surplus.
Well, our next question is from Joel from New York, who wants to know, can one of you guys, Scopa perhaps, tell me why Chip and Dale are at every character meal at Disney resorts? I have pictures from various character meals at each resort, including the Storytellers breakfast outside at the Grand Californian, and Chip and Dale are at all of them. The only exceptions are the Princess's meal at Norway and Cinderella's breakfast. They are even at the Grand Gathering breakfast at the Magic Kingdom. Thanks for the podcast. I listen to everyone to keep the magic going.
That's a very easy answer. As a matter of fact, I remember asking that question to a couple of the cast members many years ago, and what I was told was that Chip and Dale are very, very, very popular with the younger kids. They see Chip and Dale cartoons on television, and they see this very small, cutesy little animal, and that really, really gets them excited to meet them. Some of the children, unfortunately, get a little upset when they realize that Chip and Dale are about 5 feet tall and they weigh about 150 pounds or whatever. But basically, they are very, very popular with the children. And here's another factor that not too many people know, and that is that you will never see, at least I don't believe I've ever seen, Chip and Dale close to Donald Duck in any of the character meals, because historically in the cartoon
They don't get along?
They don't get along, so they're not supposed to get along at the character meals either.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. Oh, Disney's bringing
Wow.
out its skeletons out of their closets, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our next email comes from Avery Mayer of Macungie, Pennsylvania, who writes, I was wondering where you think is the best place to dine on Thanksgiving. I'd also like to know if we ate, for example, at the Crystal Palace, if the Disney dining plan would still count it as one table service meal. Keep up the super work.
Yeah. It's one. I believe it's one meal. One table service meal. And the best place to eat, the toughest place to eat on Thanksgiving for a Thanksgiving meal is the Liberty Tree Tavern in the Magic Kingdom. That is the toughest, probably the toughest priority seating to make for the entire year, I would think. Thanksgiving lunch or Thanksgiving dinner at the Liberty Tree Tavern. I'm guessing that it's probably already booked for 2006. It's a special turkey dinner that they have every Thanksgiving.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. So we can get in.
Yeah.
Great. Our next question is from Josh from the greater New York City area. And Josh is wondering about the Food and Wine Festival for this year at Epcot.
The Gravlax?
Yeah, you better make sure that you have confirmation from Norway that it will be there.
You know, I'm calling up Sonia Henny's relatives just to make sure that it's there. If you haven't listened to the show for very long, folks, last year when we talked about Food and Wine, I mentioned that they had Gravlax in Norway, and about a week after Food and Wine ended, we got a note from a reader who said, Len, you got me so excited about the Gravlax. I went to Norway, and they didn't have it. Like, they didn't have the good. They had some sort of salmon thing, or other salmon thing instead. So
yeah, Len spent about 10 minutes describing Gravlax to us. And
it's sugar and salt cured. Anyway.
Anyway.
This year the dates are September 29th through November 12th.
Okay.
So almost all of October, and I think it actually ends the day that they start putting up Christmas decorations, right?
Yeah, that's about right.
November 12th, yeah.
Yeah.
They're still doing the Eat to the Beat concert series. They're gonna have the complimentary wine tastings, other food samples. The cool thing about it, if you haven't been to Food and Wine before, is they've essentially set up decent-sized tents all around World Showcase where they serve small bite-sized portions of food from countries all over the world, and each of the samples cost supposedly like $1.50 to water around. What's the most expensive thing that they had their last year scope? It was like $4, $5, like that.
$4, Len. I think it was the High Rose, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, somewhere around $4.50, $5 for the most expensive thing. You know, and essentially you can walk around World Showcase and just get food samples for about $30. You'll have 20 different, 15 to 20 different things to sample.
Oh yeah, I brought
really well. Yeah.
Brought my cousin, and that was her very first visit to Walt Disney World. And I figured
really?
the best time to bring her would be Food and Wine, and she's traveled all over the world, and she was just amazed at what was there at Epcot, and she happens to be a connoisseur of fine wine, and she was just in heaven.
Oh, great, yeah.
Yeah.
And they also do exhibition cooking. I know Paula Deen was there a couple of years ago.
Isn't Fess Parker there every year?
The guy who used to play Davy Crockett?
Yeah, he has a wine, what do they call that? A winery? Or whatever.
Really?
He's got, what does he have?
Crockett Winery? Does he? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but he's there. He owns a winery in California, I think.
I did not know that.
My God, Len, you are so lucky that you know me. Look what you've
How
learned.
curious, yeah. Oh, and they're also doing apparently a big thing with tea this year. Tea. Like Twinings, the company tea.
Oh.
Apparently it's their 300th anniversary or whatever.
Interesting. Our next question is from Jennifer from Susan City, California. who writes, "Hi there. I've been listening to your weekly shows and enjoying it. Keep up the good work. My question is, can you give me your personal review of the popular Disney show Hoop-Dee-Doo? I've been to Disney World 5 times for the last 10 years, live in California, and have never seen it."
Hoop-dee-doo, hoop-dee-doo. Well, I've been there. I've attended that 3 or 4 times. I've been fortunate to be up on the stage, and I think that everybody should experience Hoop-Dee-Doo at least once in their lifetime. It's very expensive. I believe it's $50 now per adult. I don't know what the price is per child. I think it's in the 30s. Very corny jokes. The food has been improved over the last 5 to 10 years. I think it's a very enjoyable night. My suggestion would be to go to try to book the first show of the evening, and I would also book at least 6 to 9 months ahead of the date that you are attending. And if you're lucky, you may be able to get Table 13. Table 13 is the best table in the house. It's front row center. We've been there. You just have to be careful because sometimes they're dancing so violently up there that a hairpin will land in your soup, as it did in my soup.
Really?
Yeah, but it's a great show. And if you happen to be attending on your birthday, you might be able to get up on stage. Like I was fortunate to get up there one time. So I really, it's a thumbs up. I would go at least once. It's really worth it. I think it's two table service on the dining plan.
Great. Well, our next question comes from, who does this email come from? It comes from Krista in Sweden.
Yeah.
I would like to hear her say this question. Yeah, I love your show. No.
I love your show.
I
don't know.
Yeah, great way to alienate our listeners.
Yeah, all the ones from Sweden.
Just want to say how much I love your show. It really makes me feel like I'm at Disney World. While I was planning my next trip, I have a question for you regarding soaring. You see, I was really looking forward to riding when we were there this past October, but had a bit of a panic and had to shout for the cast member to unlock my safety restraint and let me off. It was an awful moment, and I was really disappointed in myself, but I just felt weird in the vehicle since there isn't a whole lot to hang on to and no footrest either. My actual question is, how high does the third row go up? If it's not so high, I'd hopefully be able to handle it, although it would be even better if they had an optional shoulder restraint type thing, although I have a feeling that wouldn't be available anytime soon. Thanks in advance. Keep up the wonderful work. It does go up fairly high relative to where you start from. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like being. I'll compare it to being in the balcony at a play without being, like that kind of height from the ground, but obviously a little bit different in the balcony. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Len, go ahead. You first.
Yeah, I don't think you're more than like 10 or 15 feet up.
Oh.
No, you're more than that.
No, I
on
think
the bottom row?
Oh, the third. Oh, are we talking about the third row? Third row being the top row, third row being the first row?
No, she's like 40 feet up on the top row.
Right.
Oh, okay.
40 or 45.
I didn't know if she meant the top row. Oh, okay. Yeah.
No. Well, why would she, if she's afraid of heights, why would she get up on the top row?
I don't know. Maybe she was asking the worst case scenario. I don't know.
All right. Okay.
So yeah, the bottom row then, not so bad then.
Bottom row is probably 30. Top row is probably 45, 50. But I can understand what she's saying, because all you do is you have the seat belt, and you don't have a bar in front of you, which I think is something that some people may find disturbing. That's the only thing that's holding them in is that piece of cloth that's connected. I'm pretty sure that system is used throughout the whole resort, and it's very very secure. But I'm guessing, Krista, that the next time that you're there, you may want to just close your eyes just before takeoff, and then open them up when you're at the top.
When you're done screaming.
See what happens. Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Well, our next question is from Kim Barron of Pittsburgh, who writes, I was the one who asked about cashing in my 7-day Magic Your Way pass for an annual pass or buying one. I did call my local Disney store, and they told me that they sell annual pass vouchers. My Disney trip is a solo. My next trip after that in the spring will be either a family one or with a friend. Now for my comment, I love Animal Kingdom. I've been there 3 times, and I still haven't seen everything. I'm looking forward to the Flights of Wonder. I wasn't able to see it due to a bird-phobic mom on the past 2 trips. That sounds like your wife, Len, right?
Yeah, exactly. Never, ever, ever.
And my 3rd trip was a 2.5-day commando trip between the 2 weeks of a business trip to Tampa.
Yeah.
her question is Lucky ever coming back to my beloved Animal Kingdom? I saw him last June, and he was great. We get this question a lot about Lucky.
Yeah, I think the answer is no.
I don't think
Not
Lucky
not
will be
anytime
back.
soon.
No.
But there may be some. We may see something similar to Lucky in the next 2 years, though. We've been hearing rumblings about the Imagineers working on a specific Disney character that may make an appearance sometime in the next 2 years. So we may see something like Lucky, although I'm not sure if we'll see Lucky himself.
Next question is from Richard Mercer of Beaver Creek, Ohio, who writes, another question for your All Ohio Reader Question Show.
Woo!
Am I right that Test Track and Mission Space are the only Walt Disney World attractions with single rider lines? He's got other questions, so is that true?
No, Mission Space, they got rid of the single rider line now to
accommodate the
the new Team Chicken non-spinning version of the attraction, but in the last week or so. But since Rich probably it's Rich, right?
Yep.
Rich probably wrote back in February when they actually had a line. He was right at the time.
Doesn't Everest have a single rider line?
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant Epcot. Yeah, I think the weird thing about the one in Everest is it's actually in the FastPass line, so you've got the same line. If you're standing to the left, I think you're FastPass. If you're standing to the right, you're single rider line. It's almost as if the Imagineers thought, after they got the queue completely built, hey, we forgot to include a single rider line. I know. Let's make them stand on either side.
Well, Richard wants to know, let me read you the rest of his email. In general, is a solo guest better off just getting in the single rider line or getting a fast pass? Does it depend on how busy Epcot is? He also goes on to say, I have heard of problems with 2 to 4 people getting in the single rider line, then begging the cast member to let them ride together. Is this a common practice? If so, how should it be dealt with? I'm thinking scarlet letter or public flogging.
Yeah, I really don't see anything wrong with either of those, yeah. I was going to say beaten with sticks, but okay, whatever. Yeah, they do it. People do it. I can imagine that some cast members try to accommodate them, but I guess that after like a day or so, they would of being on the job, they would stop doing that, and they would just take the people as they come along. I can't imagine the people behind you would be very happy if you were letting individual seats go by on a ride vehicle because you want to ride together.
You don't want that reputation, and I'm sure that they're watched very carefully.
Yeah, I might guess so too. Yeah.
Fast pass.
Yeah, I think fast pass is actually faster.
Yep. Okay. Well, we've got time for a quick question, and this one comes from Ted Goralski of Massapequa Park, New York, who writes, my wife and 2 sons, aged 8 and 10, are visiting Walt Disney World, and we are planning one day for a water park. Which park do you suggest? As an aside, we will be experiencing the Epcot Seas Aqua Tour also, so I'm wondering if Shark Reef would be repetitive.
Good question. It's a different kind of experience.
I always say Blizzard Beach. I'm still not sold on Typhoon Lagoon.
Depends upon what you want in a water park too. I mean, there's Humunga Kawabunga at Typhoon Lagoon. There's the wave pool. There's that lazy thing around the park. I mean, it depends upon what you're looking for in a water park. I think you're right, Matt. If you're talking about somebody who wants a lot of exciting thrills and stuff, I'd say Blizzard Beach. But if you want a little bit of this and a little bit of that, I'd say Typhoon Lagoon. I mean, there's nothing quite the experience like the wave pool. That's for sure.
Well,
I'll disagree. I mean,
what do you think, Ron?
I like Blizzard Beach.
Really?
Yeah, I like the theming, the overall theming better.
Okay.
Yeah, but you like Animal Kingdom too, so what do you know?
That's true. So really, what do I really know about anything? So.
Well, that's it for us today. This has been episode number 107 of Walt Disney World Today. If you want to find older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, you can visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.wdwtoday.com. You can also email us at questions@wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Silva, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hotchberg. We'll see you on the next show.